You suck at making spaghetti. If you're anything like me, you've played those little belt weaving puzzles on the main menu to death. You know, the ones hidden behind the scenarios button that nobody ever presses. If you haven't played those, go do it right now. They're a blast, and then come back. Those little puzzles, I think, hold the secret to making Factorio feel fresh again, and that's to make your entire run, from handcrafting to rocket launching, feel just like one of those puzzles through the power of spaghetti. Is it a sin? Yeah. Does it make this the factory equivalent of Satanism? Also, probably yeah. But let's dive in. I like to consider myself something of a spaghetti connoisseur, and I have a couple principles I like to follow that help guide my hand towards the most delicious digital pasta you've ever seen. From vanilla to pyanodons, I've done it all. Soren Johnson, a game designer on the Civilization series, once famously wrote, "Given the opportunity, players will optimize the fun out of a game." My goal today is to show you some ways that you can keep that principle in mind to make sure that you are not optimizing the fun out of your game and inject that fun right back in. What this phrase basically boils down to is that by constantly chasing what is mathematically optimal, you may be avoiding, intentionally, a different way of doing things that could be a lot more fun. This quote was intended as advice for game designers, since this occurs at its worst when the optimal thing to do is repetitive, exactly the same as everyone else, or straight up boring. Remind you of anything? City blocks and main buses may be optimal, but let's face it, they're boring. You're going to have more fun and build a more unique base by casting these so-called optimal architectures aside and embracing the spaghetti. By turning cliffs and water up, you create more limitations on how and where your factory can grow, creating new emergent challenges to solve and much more variety in your factories from the get-go. Look how much more natural and interesting this furnace stack becomes when we don't quite have the space for it. But that's just one example, and as you'll see, you can apply this both in your game and in your mind. Stop caring about making it perfect. The factory has only a single requirement. Does it work? Yes or no. If it works, good enough. Make something good enough, and then move on. This creates those emergent moments where something that used to work no longer does, and you have the opportunity or requirement to build it again or try to patch that inadequacy. Basically, if you find a build that doesn't work anymore, you can alter, upgrade, or replace it as needed to make sure you use what works. By building your factory this way, you'll run into more space constraints than you would have otherwise, creating new variations of those little belt puzzles for you to sink your teeth into. Squeeze everything you can into those tiny cracks between builds. Use the giant swaths of open space to fit a build with no restrictions. Create space to fit it where there was no space before. Your factory should stop at nothing to grow. Don't limit yourself to only the next tile at the end of your bus, or clearing open space to fit in another city block, or any single philosophy, but instead let the factory grow naturally like a tumor, and build different sized and shaped solutions to different sized and shaped openings between what you already have built. This lets you keep yourself open to new ideas, solutions, or ways to build a production line that you may not have considered if you'd restrained yourself to a more rigid construction plan. Only need a few green chips to make some science? Only make a few. You can always make more later. By just barely producing as much as you need now, you set yourself up for failure by needing to produce more once the demands of your factory has grown. This is a fun one. It can help all your builds to end up as different sizes, as well as fracturing your production into multiple different processing lines in multiple locations, which looks way more unique to play around with. Which is more fun, one giant cube of 1,000 furnaces, or groups of 10 to 20 spread around your factory wherever they happen to have been needed? Anyways, I have an entire factory recorded and ready to be edited into a long-form pasta playthrough, so please stick around in my admittedly brand new channel if you want to see that in the future. But for now, go out and make your own arbitrary rules and try playing the game the spaghetti way.